Okay, hello everybody. I tried my best to make this video quality better, and because I'm not a blogger and I don't have one of those perfect circle lights, this is probably as good as it's going to get. My name is Rebecca. I am your broker at Insurica Southwest here in town. And so we have been working hard to get your benefit package together this year. And so I wanted to put something together for you guys. I know everybody's kind of working remotely. And so I wanted to put something together that you could view in your free time with your spouse, possibly, so that this isn't something that we all had to be in the same room for, given the circumstances. So I'm just going to jump right into a few things. In your email, you should have received a document. I think it's titled, let me see, Employee Benefits Guide. I'm going to walk through that too on this call, so you can see it on the video, and I can kind of talk about some of the things with the benefits, and then you can also view that on your own. You do have that copy. It's got all the pricing and benefits and things like that. So this year for the medical, we did switch you guys from Humana previously to a company called EMI Health. So EMI Health uses a pool of construction companies, and they pull them all together to help alleviate the cost to the employee and the employer, which is great. So they use the Blue Cross Blue Shield network, which is fantastic. It literally has 98% of the market share, which means 98% of physicians contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield. So you should have absolutely no problem moving forward with, is my doctor in my network, things like that. So that's good. I know a lot of times when you change carriers, that's always the first concern is, what about my doctor? What about my pediatrician? What about, all these different doctors that you want to make sure that they're in? I would challenge you to find a doctor that isn't in the network, especially if many and all of you are living in Maricopa County. We don't have anybody living out in Morenci or anything like that. So very good. Moving forward, I am going to share my screen a little bit here. So bear with me if it has a little bit of a lag. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the benefits guide here. So here on the front, you can see it's got some contact information for EMI Health. So if you've got things regarding like insurance cards or questions about your claims or anything like that, this is for EMI. Your dental, your vision, your life insurance did not change. So if you were currently on the benefits before, your dental, vision, all of that doesn't change. So you don't have to worry about changing doctors or anything like that. But here is your dental, vision, and life is still through Humana. The rates were a lock-in for 2 years, so we figured we might as well just take advantage of that, keep everything the same. Less changes is always more. So down here at the bottom, where it says Insurica Southwest Benefits Department, you'll see my name, Becca Gartrell, and then you'll also see Mercy's name. She is our account manager, so she's more than likely going to be the person that you're going to be able to get day to day for questions about, insurance card, claims, things, bills, billing issues, things like that. You'll want to call Mercy. She is also bilingual. If you need Spanish, she can do Spanish or English. If you're calling me, you're only going to get English. So I can help with any questions too. We want to keep you guys from, going to Lori as much as you can. So just, direct your questions to us. The second page here talks about enrollment guidelines. So that is going to be like, when am I able to enroll? When am I able to disenroll? So if you're enrolled now, and then, for example, your spouse has, their benefit open enrollment in 3 months, that is a qualifying event. So this here outlines all of these qualifying changes. So divorce, your dependent or your spouse has a change in benefits, anything like that, you qualify for access, or, any of those things they're listed here. If you've got questions about that, let us know. It also looks like there's a typo here for Lori's name. I'll make sure to go ahead and get that fixed. Obviously, you guys know we're talking about Lori, not Laura. I'm going to keep it moving here just for the sake of time. And obviously, you guys know you can email me with any questions. We'll get to that at the end. This first plan is going to be the $2,500 deductible. So previously that was going to be the option 3 through Humana. So if you were currently on option 3 with Humana, you had a $2,500 deductible. That's going to be most similar to this plan. all in all, you know, we tried to make sure we weren't slashing benefits this year. So really, we don't have any bad news to report. The rates are cheaper. The benefits are typically a little bit better. So your individual deductible, if you're just applying for coverage for yourself, is going to be $2,500. If you're adding anyone else on your plan, a spouse or children or both, you're going to have to serve a $5,000 deductible on this plan. The copay for your office visit, so that's going to be your primary care, just your general doctor where you're going to do your physical and things like that, is going to be a $30 copay. Obviously, you see in-network, out-of-network. Like I talked about before, the network is large, so you're not going to have any trouble staying in-network. A specialist would be like anything that ends in IST. So that's going to be like a podiatrist, a gynecologist, an allergist. Any of those things are going to be a $60 copay. Any of your physical, since we're talking about it, I work with a lot of construction companies. I know many of us are like, look, I never go to the doctor ever. Although that's great, it isn't great. And you should go at least once a year just for your physical. So anything preventative, which is considered a physical, is covered 100% no matter what plan you pick. So if you pick this plan or you pick the $5,000 deductible or whatever, your physical is covered 100%. And you should take advantage of that. I don't want to get on a soapbox for too long about this, but there's countless examples of times that things that are much larger can be found in your physical. So, you know, you hear about people having stays in the hospital, possible, you know, cancer battles, things like that. They're expensive, not to mention draining on your life, your family, everything. So if you can catch it early, you can keep yourself from being in that pit. So just jump off my little soapbox there. Your emergency room copay is $250. Obviously, we want everyone to stay out of the emergency room. You've probably heard that 150,000 times in your life, but if this is the first time you're hearing it and this is the only thing that you hear from this presentation, it's stay out of the emergency room. Obviously, if your limb is hanging on by a thread, you are bleeding, somebody is screaming bloody murder, yeah, we get it. That's why it's the emergency room. But honestly, time and time again, I still hear people telling stories about their stomach hurting and they went to the emergency room and they were flabbergasted when they got a bill. Stay out of the emergency room. The next one is urgent care. Obviously, this is a much more preferred method. So urgent care is going to be a $75 copay. And again, this is bridging that gap between, yeah, my limb is not hanging off. I can wait till tomorrow or, you know, the next hour. But I also can't wait 3 days to get in with my primary care doctor. You know, so this is bridging the gap between emergency room and your primary care physician. Hospital services, just like pretty much any other plan, you're subject to your deductible first. So you're going to have to meet your deductible if you are experiencing a hospital stay. Prescription drugs, now you can see there's 4 tiers. Those go based by the carrier and based by, you know, what you're prescribed. So definitely, I don't have it ingrained in my brain of what drug is what tier. Bottom line, your top tier is going to be 25% coverage up to a $250 copayment. So those are typically your higher end drugs. And usually, you know, if you're on one, it's usually things like injections for autoimmune disorders, things like that, cancer treatment drugs. You generally know if you're on a tier 4 drug. I'll just tell you that. Your tier 1 drug is $15 copay. There is one other thing that I want to be able to show you guys, and it's while I'm sharing my screen here. It's an app called GoodRx. You can download it on your phone. You can do it on the internet. But GoodRx, I actually had to use this for my spouse recently because we went to pick up the prescription. We did it anyway, like idiots, but it was like $90-something. And I'm like, oh my God. So if you go on to GoodRx, you can see it's even got, you know, different ones on here. Let's say you use Lexapro, for example. You can type in your zip code, you can type in the drug, and you can see where it's the cheapest. So, you know, for example, this obviously doesn't have a zip code in there, but it's showing in a certain zip code where this is the cheapest. I told you we paid like $90-something with insurance the other day. So again, that was ignorant because at Fry's it's $7.90. I say this also because even though your copay is $15 on your tier 1, $7 is less than $15. So you sort of have to be a good consumer sometimes when you go to the pharmacy, and hopefully you're using GoodRx ahead of time to see which pharmacy is the cheapest. And when you go there, you want to know that it might be $15 with your insurance and it might be $7 without it. So I know that seems insane. It's just the lay of the land right now. So just keep that in mind. I would 100% always talk to your doctor. Maybe you have GoodRx open while you're in the doctor's office. And, you know, instead of prescribing Lexapro, he can prescribe the generic or, you know, whatever is better and cheaper for you. Just be aware that that can be the case. Pricing down here at the bottom. So I know I don't want you guys to get too hung up on the way it looks. Also pricing, I should touch on this really quickly. All your enrollment is going to be done through the link that you should have been sent in your email. It's called Ease Central. All of your info is already loaded in there. There might be missing pieces. If you want to fill it in, great. You know, if your phone number is not listed, go ahead and fill it in. This is going to be where you elect your benefits online, and it's also going to have pricing on there too. So the company's super generous, you guys. They contribute a lot to these benefits. So this is a really good plan. So obviously this one's a little bit more. So if you're looking at covering a family or something like that, and this is out of your price range, don't just, you know, wait, there are better options. But again, these are a decrease from last year's options. So if you were previously on this plan and you want to stay on this plan, you know, your cost is not going up. The next plan here is it's very similar. It is a $4,000 deductible. So this is going to be more for people that are like, you know, like I said before, I never go to the doctor. I go when I'm sick and that's it. This is going to be for you guys. So these higher deductible plans are much more preferable for people that aren't going to the doctor. They aren't having chronic conditions, things like that. $4,000 deductible. Obviously, if you add anybody else to your plan, it's an $8,000 deductible. That's what that number means. Again, you want to stay in network as much as you can, because you can see these out-of-network costs can be pretty high. Your primary care doctor visit is $35. Your specialist is $70 on this plan. So again, for diagnostic laboratory, this is actually a big benefit that other plans do not have, is that there's no charge for diagnostic testing, so labs, x-rays, things like that. Again, emergency room, $300 copay. So as I said before, you want to stay out of there as much as you can unless you have to go, in which case you can't help it. Urgent care is the same, $75 copay. This plan in particular, so once you've met your deductible, you owe 20% until you've reached this out-of-pocket max. So you get to your $4,000, now all of a sudden it stops the bleeding. That's what the deductible means. So you reach $4,000, stop the bleeding a little bit, and now you're only paying 20% until you get to that $6,500. Very rare to get to that max out-of-pocket. You would have to have something really major. I'm talking, you know, over a week in the hospital, maybe even the ICU, things like that. So don't let the numbers scare you. They're there just for stop loss. But again, these higher deductible plans are typically for people that aren't expecting to be there, knock on wood. Your prescription drug copays are down here. They're very similar to the other plans. Again, 4 tiers, talk with your doctor, use GoodRx, use all the resources you can to make sure that you're not overpaying for prescriptions, because like I said, we just overpaid for one less than a month ago. And I work in the industry, so shame on me. Pricing is a little bit more affordable on this plan, obviously, because of the higher deductibles. So, you know, you always want to weigh what fits best for your budget and also your needs. So if you're a person that doesn't really go a lot, but you've got, you know, some day-to-day things, then this might be a plan for you. Pricing per paycheck is down here in the lower right corner. The next plan is the highest deductible. So that's going to be a $5,000 deductible. So again, this is a lot of people were on this plan previously. This was going to be the option 6 before with Humana. It was called option 6. This one has a $5,000 deductible, a $40 copay on your primary care, $80 copay on your specialist. So again, you can see why this plan is cheaper, because these are for people that are hopefully not using it. People don't go broke paying $40 or $80, you know, once or twice a year to go to the doctor. So that's why, you know, if you're saving on premium, you might be able to spend $5 more on a copay for your primary care or your specialist. Same thing on the diagnostic, same thing on the emergency room. Urgent care is pretty high on this one. Again, you're rolling the dice, you're playing the odds that you're never going to need it. This is a 30% coinsurance after your deductible is met. So again, you're planning on never using it. If you have something really crazy, you've got some major accident, you're going to be subject to your $5,000 deductible first. And then you're, going to pay 30% after that deductible's met until you reach your max out of pocket, which is $71.50. Again, this is like, if you've heard people call like a catastrophic plan, this is a catastrophic plan. It does still allow you to get that physical once a year for no charge. It does still allow you those set copays of $40 and $80, where, I know I work in insurance, obviously I should know better, but there was a time, before I was in this position, that I was self-employed, so I didn't have insurance. And so a copay on just a regular doctor's visit was $99. So it may not feel sometimes like it's a great benefit to have a $40 copay, but I promise you it is. If you've been on the other side, or if you've been through like the marketplace benefits through healthcare.gov, you know that these are actually pretty good plans. So the pricing down here is at the bottom right. Again, you have to kind of go through and see what fits best for you. I know we had a lot of people on this plan before. Through Humana, pricing went down. Your dental, vision, and life insurance is the same as it was last year. So if you were already enrolled in dental vision, number one, it should show up in your portal, the East Central portal, where you're going to be doing all of your enrolling. It will tell you that you were enrolled. There aren't options. It's, do you want dental or do you not? A common question that I get is that if you're waiving medical, can you still participate in dental vision? Yes, absolutely. It is sort of a la carte. So if you want just medical and just vision, fantastic. If you want medical, dental, vision, that's fine too. So feel free to take a look. One of the reasons why I thought staying with this dental plan was so great, and maybe you've already experienced this in your time using this plan, is that there is an unlimited annual maximum on this dental plan. Almost unheard of, honestly. Many of these plans have $1,000 deductible, annual maximum, or a $1,500 annual maximum is pretty good. This has unlimited, so it's unheard of. The pricing was still competitive. They allowed you guys a rate lock. Preventative services, you'll see it says 0% member responsibility. So you can go get your cleanings for free, absolutely free. If you do have any other services, so basic services, major services, those are going to be things like fillings, extractions, root canals, the whole gamut. You will have to pay your deductible first. And I know the deductible on these dental plans are much different than a medical plan. So if you're just covering yourself, your deductible is going to be $50. And then, whatever's left of your filling cost, you're going to pay 20% of it. So if the cost is $500, you're going to pay your $50, then you're going to pay 20%, which is $100. So if you have major services, that's going to be, like I said, obviously like root canals, things like that, you're going to owe 50% of that. So if the cost was $500, you'd now be looking at $250. So endodontics, those are covered under major services. Periodontics is the same. This also has, this dental plan is so good, I love it. It has an orthodontia benefit for $1,000 lifetime max, which that means if you've used that benefit already for a child, you can't use that benefit for the same child. It's lifetime. But it also covers adult braces, so or orthodontia, I should say. So I see a lot of adults now taking braces or whatever, Invisalign, things like that. So you are able to use that for adults. That's not a common benefit. Generally, it's like kids under 16. So another really good benefit. There are no waiting periods. This covers children to age 26 on dental. Same as medical, age 26. This is a completely voluntary plan on dental, meaning that you guys pay for the whole cost. So the employer does not contribute to this part. It's pretty standard. So that's why, if you want dental, great. If you don't want dental, that's fine. Back to my point about being able to sort of pick a la carte benefits, you're able to cover your family on dental and yourself on medical if you want, or vice versa. So just keep that in mind. Vision insurance is the same as last year. You have a $10 copay on your eye exam. You've got a copay on your single, bifocal, trifocal. You are offered a $100 allowance towards frames. So obviously anything above that, it looks like they give you a discount towards anything if you want really fancy frames. Contact lenses, $0 copay. It's important to note that generally you can do contacts or frames once a year, not both. So if you've got glasses and you're good on that, maybe this year you use it for contacts. Vision is very cheap, as you can see. So if you are, the thing I'll say about vision is a lot of times people are like, do I need it? Do I not need it? I don't know if I need glasses. if you're gonna get an eye exam within this year, it's worth it. If you're gonna get an eye exam, if you're not gonna do it because you don't like going to doctors and you see just fine and whatever, then don't do it. That's just my take on it. If you're not gonna use it, you'd be surprised. I'd say 9 times out of 10 people don't use their vision benefits. So make sure you're going to use it, and maybe keep yourself accountable that if you are paying for it, that you go and get at least an eye exam, because an eye exam can be anywhere from 120 to 150 bucks. So if you're going to get an eye exam, it's 100% worth it. The life insurance is company paid, so tell your boss thank you. This is $25,000 for the employee. You can see some of the age restrictions here. I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's guaranteed issue, so you don't have to, answer any questionnaires or anything like that for the life insurance. So just some tips and tricks on here that we talked about. Always make sure a physician's in network. Even though I said, there's 98% of physicians contracted with Blue Cross Blue Shield, make sure before you go to your appointment. And the way that it's asked is not, do you take Blue Cross Blue Shield? The way that it's asked is, are you contracted with Blue Cross Blue Shield? Again, I'd be really surprised if they said no, but just always make sure, because too many times, people are upset after the fact. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do after the fact. After that doctor sees you, that bill is yours. So talked about this already. Avoid the emergency room, use urgent care, ask for generic prescriptions. So those are good benefits. Also, we're going to be submitting some information on Teladoc services. This is actually a very important part. This goes with every single plan that is offered. And that's going to be the fact that you guys can call and talk to a doctor. I know, especially through this coronavirus time, you might be familiar with this. You can call and talk to a doctor. It's generally a $0 copay. I'll double check on that. Again, we'll send out the literature, but you always want to use your Teladoc service. If your kid has a cold, pink eye, you've got a cold, you're working, you don't have time to, make a doctor's appointment, wait 3 days. You don't want to spend $75 on urgent care. Your first thing should always be, can I use Teladoc service? It's going to be the cheapest way. It's going to be the fastest way for you to get back to work and get the care that you need. So you always want to use that first. I talked a little bit about your enrollment. So it's called eCentral. You're going to get a link for it. Should be super duper easy. Your info is individually, so it's single sign-on. So you can log in with your spouse if you'd like. You can do it through your phone if you'd like. And it's going to have your information loaded in there. So even as much to say, what plan did I have last year? It's going to show you. So if you have any questions, obviously feel free to reach out to me. My cell phone number is on that booklet. I'll also make sure that my email's in there. Email is always going to be the best way. So if you've got any questions, please let us know. Further directions are going to be listed in the email as well about when do these benefits need to be done by. Generally, we give a few days. So just know that if you're receiving this email and you're watching this video, you don't have 2 weeks to make the decision. The reason isn't because we're mean. It's because we want to make sure that you get your insurance cards in time. So if you want to go ahead and make sure that you're looking through this with your spouse or whoever helps you make those decisions, that you're ready to make a decision here within a few days, and that information will be in the email as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and thank you guys so much. Have a good one.